Alright, what's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be giving my 2022 season recap and revisiting all of my record predictions and then my playoffs. I made this series all the way back in August before the season started. I made over 30 shorts. I made 3 YouTube videos giving my award predictions, my Super Bowl prediction, all my division winners, the playoffs. So in this video, I'm going to revisit it and see how I did and give myself a grade. I'll be pretty critical of myself in this video. I think I didn't do as well as I wanted to. And, I'm also going to start a little bit of a mini series where I revisit a lot of my past takes with the draft, with breakout players, with all that stuff. So let's get right into this video. But first, I want to give a quick, huge thanks to everybody who has been supporting the channel. Of course, this was the most fruitful year and I had, most of my very, very successful videos based on this season, especially of my record predictions and, the NFL draft as well. So I want to give a quick thanks. My channel grew so much, over 270,000 views as of now with 500 subscribers. And of course, off season is my favorite time of the season, so that means content is going to be more. This season I did struggle with content and what kind of content I wanted to produce. I started off with weekly recaps, and then I moved over to more mock draft stuff, and then just if anything cool happened. But this is the off season. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm directing my focus towards in NFL prospects, and then the off season with trades and free agency. But let's get back into the main video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be basically going over these 3 videos that are all on my channel, and they're in a playlist. Links are in the description. So these videos were basically me giving my predictions for every single team in the NFL, and then of course giving my award predictions for everything. And so in this video, I have to give 3 guidelines, which I'm going to go over right now. So the guidelines go like this. If I was in, 0 games, I got the exact record, or within 1 game, I'm going to give myself green, yellow if it's within 2 to 3 games, and then red where it's I missed by 4 or more games, just missed the mark by a lot. And then I'll add up every division to see my final score for the AFC, NFC, and then the entire NFL. Starting off with the AFC East, this is actually a bad representation of how I did the entire way around. The AFC East was my best division by far, and I only got 1 game wrong, which was the New York Jets. I'm not going to deduct myself for the Bills-Bengals game. Of course, there was no winner or loser, but they did have 13 wins, so I'm going to give myself that. And then my only negative was that the Jets had 1 more win than I predicted. The AFC North was a similar thing, of course, with the Bengals. They had 12 wins. I'm going to give myself that. Ravens, I had the correct score. The only one that I got real wrong was the Steelers. I had them going 6-11. They ended up having a winning record with 9-8, even though their strength of schedule was really weak down the stretch. Of course, Browns lose 1 more game than I predicted. They get -4. And of course, the Browns ended up 4th, and the Steelers ended up finishing 3rd. The AFC South was actually the worst one that I predicted. The Jaguars ended up winning the division at 9-8, but I had the Tennessee Titans mainly correct, 7-10, 8-9. Houston Texans, of course, having the number 2 overall pick. I did predict them having the 1st, but the worst guess out of all was the Colts. I had them winning the division at 11-6. They ended up going 4-12-1, firing Frank Reich and having an outright horrible season. And then, of course, the AFC West. I had the Kansas City Chiefs correct. I think I was a little higher than a lot of other people were on the Kansas City Chiefs. I did overshoot the Chargers, 12-5, 10-7, and then the Raiders and the Broncos both finished with 6-5 wins respectively, which I did miss on. I thought the AFC West was going to be one of the premier divisions, but it was not. And then this was my seeding for the AFC playoffs. I did have the Bills finishing as the number 1. If they won against the Bengals, they would actually have been the number 1 seed. Kansas City Chiefs did make the playoffs, won the division. Bills won the division, made the playoffs. Bengals, the 3 spot. The Colts were wrong, of course, the Jaguars. And I had the Ravens, and I also had the Chargers right in the right spot, of course, wildcard teams. But I did have the Raiders as a playoffs team instead of the Dolphins, who made it instead of them. So I was 5 for 7 here. The NFC is where everything takes a humongous turn. I really did bad guessing NFC teams. I did have the Eagles winning the division, but they did get 14-3 instead of 10-7. I undershot the Cowboys again. They went 12-5. Commanders won more games than I thought. But most importantly, I had the Giants losing the division at 5-12. They ended up making the wild card, of course, at 9-7-1. So I end up with a score of -12. The NFC North doesn't look any better, of course, -10. Green Bay Packers ended up being third. I had them as the division winners. Vikings went 13-4, even though I think they more played like a 10-7 team, which I'm not going to give myself too much slack for. But most importantly, this was my biggest channel flaw possibly ever, where it's the Lions. I had misinformation in my record prediction video there. I predicted them going 5-12. They went 9-8 and barely missed the playoffs. But I did have the Chicago Bears at a correct record prediction at 4-13. I'm also not going to give myself too much slack for the NFC South, other than, of course, the Saints and the Bucks. The Bucks just did not perform as I thought, even though they were still the division winners. And I failed to predict that the Panthers and the Falcons were going to do a little bit better than I expected, and then the Saints doing worse and the Bucks doing a lot worse. But I'm going to give myself -11 here. Not too horrible. And now here is the NFC West. This was my biggest fault here. I had the Seahawks going 4-13. They ended up going 9-8. Of course, I had the Rams going 11-6, making the playoffs. 5-12, had a very injury-prone year. And then the Niners did much better than I expected, going 13-4 with Purdy. Cardinals failed, firing Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler Murray got hurt as well. And then for my playoffs, I had everything wrong. You can just look at everything there. So the overview goes like this. I incorrectly guessed 74 out of 274 games, getting a 73% correct score, which is around a C. It's fine. It's passing grade. In the AFC, I did a lot better with 81% guessed correctly. And of course, with the NFC, I did a lot worse, getting 65% only correct. AFC East and AFC North being my best. And then, of course, the NFC West being my worst. And here are all my correct predictions: Dolphins, Chiefs, Patriots, Bears, and Ravens. And then my worst predictions being the Seahawks, Jags, Lions, and the Giants, 3 making the playoffs. These were my mock awards for the preseason. I had Patrick Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, Myles Garrett, Breece Hall, Kayvon Thibodeau, Michael Thomas, and Sean McDermott. Of course, I did only come away with 2, with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson being correct. I did have Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner as my number 2s for each position, respectively. But Breece Hall probably would have won Offensive Rookie of the Year if he didn't get hurt. And then for my AFC and NFC championship games, I had the Kansas City Chiefs going against the Chargers, with the Chargers going to the Super Bowl, and then the Rams and the Buccaneers, Bucks coming out of that one, for the Super Bowl 57 matchup being the Chargers and the Bucks, with the Chargers coming out of it. Of course, in real life, I went 1-for-4 with this, having the Chiefs go up against the Bengals, and then the Eagles go up against the 49ers. Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl, Chiefs coming out of it, with Patrick Mahomes being the Super Bowl MVP. And that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you check out my mock draft videos. Of course, the offseason starting. You know I'm very in tune with draft prospects and all that stuff. But, you know, let me know how I did in this video. I think I did all right. I am disappointed a little bit because did not get as many correct records as I wanted to. And I kind of got flamed a lot on the shorts with the comments. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I'm probably going to be doing revisiting a lot of my draft stuff in the upcoming weeks, and then giving more film breakdowns and prospect breakdowns. So I'll see you in the next one.